Hello everyone, my name is Lukas and today with the help of Karen Croston, we're going to tell you about our Command Shift final project app by the name of Petal. First of all then, why did we create the app? Petal was made because, to put it simply, looking after plants is hard work. And Petal hopes to provide a platform where managing your plants is made simpler by allowing you to create a library of plants and access information about their watering needs, sunlight requirements, and even the pruning and care process for your individual plants to thrive. As such, we hope that Petal will prevent many a plant from meeting its unfortunate end due to improper care, and we hope to do a little something to help make your plants flourish.
This is the sign-in page. It's the entry page of the application and it assumes you already have an account. In this case we haven't, so let's create one. And if you did not have an account, you would click on the sign up button, which will take you to a sign up page where the user can enter a name, an email and a password. The username will enable a user-friendly message to be displayed on the dashboard once signed up. An email address would identify the user, and you'd be able to send notifications for any future correspondence once signed up. A password would be entered to allow the user to securely log in. On the sign-in page, there we go, you would enter your email and your password, and then you would click sign in. And this takes you to the dashboard page, which Lukas will now take us through.
Once you've signed in, you'll be greeted by the dashboard. Here, you may look at your saved plants from your plant library, or you may look at some of our top picks, which will give you inspirations on plants to either buy or also add to your plant library. If you'd like to add a new plant, you may simply type the name of the plant at the top in the search bar. From here, you may add any select plant by clicking on the favorites button on each individual plant card. This will then add your new plant to your plant library.
After searching for a plant, you can select the plant which you want to see in more detail, and this will take you to the plant details card. Here, the application displays the name of the plant, it displays an image of the plant, type, watering and sunlight needs, and also provides a description of the plant. On this page, there's also a back button to the previous page, and there's also a favourites button which you can click and add to your plant library on the dashboard. So if you click on there and go back to your dashboard, the new plant will have been added. On this particular project, the tech stack that we used was React. This was used to build the front-end framework. React Router was also utilised, which enabled us to move between the pages within the application effectively. The Axios library has also been used to make the HTTP requests and interact with the API to retrieve data asynchronously. And finally, we have used MUI Tools, which is a component library which offers a wide range of pre-built components and styling options for building user interfaces. We will look at app.jsx first, which is the entry point into the application. Here we set up React Router, which is a built-in module within React, and this allows us global access to different application pages. And these are the routes here. In addition, we also bring the plant details from the API here with the React use effect hook. However, in hindsight, this isn't the right place to do it and would be better to do it after the user had signed in. In the sign-in page, a React hook use state is being used so we can make user state available to the rest of the app. This can be seen when we go to the dashboard screen where the greeting message pulls Samantha's name from the user state object, which we define in app.js. Next, we have the handle submit function, which is here, which is the registered event handler for form submit. In this function, we have some validation code checks, which checks that an email and password have been entered. If not, an error message is displayed and the page is not submitted. If both are entered, the form submits and we are routed via React Router to the dashboard page, as defined in app.js. The sign-in has been sufficient to meet our MVP, but if we'd had more time, we would add additional checks to ensure the email field contained a valid email and also set requirements for the password complexity, such as minimum length, presence of uppercase, lowercase numbers, and special characters. In the plant detail page, the useEffect hook is used to make a GET request to the external API to fetch plant details using the Axios library to send the response and receive specific data, including common name, default image, sunlight, watering, and description. The plant detail page is receiving the favourites and set favourite state, which will be used later. We first create an instance of the React Router component Navigate, which will be used later to navigate back to the previous page. The useEffect hook retrieves the ID of the selected plant from the params object, which has been populated on the previous screen before navigating here. We have a few utility functions further down, which help with the presentation of data on the screen by capitalising the first letter of plant names and concatenating instructions on how to manage the plant. Next we have a handle favourites function. This is triggered when the favourite button is clicked by updating the favourite state object so that we can show them on the dashboard, and storing them in local storage so that they are still present when the screen refreshes.
The dashboard contains two primary parts. One of them is the card carousel, and the other is the search bar. For the card carousel, I used a component called Swipeable Views, which I was able to adjust via CSS styling to get it to look exactly how I wanted. I was able to adapt additional MUI elements such as the mobile stepper to provide some of the visual functionality for the overall design. The carousel element is repeated for the top plants list to maintain design uniformity. Each card for each plant was created separately using various MUI card components, and then they were called via a map function back into the card carousel. The search bar uses the useState function to store the typed information and passes it to the search page. In the search page, the information is then passed directly to an Axios GET request, which passes the information into another card map and then provides the value for the search page array. By clicking on the Favorites button, the dashboard card array information is sent to the search card page where the new card is added via the spreader function. This is passed back into the dashboard where it can then be viewed.
We have used a variety of tools to help us collaborate while building the app. Figma was used to develop initial mood boards to get a feel for what the app might look like before continuing to develop those ideas into fully fledged wireframes. Lukas had experience using this tool before and has done a great job with these designs. GitHub is also a common tool and our source code repository of choice. We used multiple branches to develop the code in parallel before merging the code together via pull request. We have definitely learnt a lot about using Git during this process. In addition, we've also used Trello, which was used for task management, where we set out the work required to complete the project and assign tasks to team members. Slack was used to communicate status of the project, what work was completed, what was outstanding, and what problems we had experienced, which served as our stand-up. Using Slack means that when one person isn't online, they can catch up after the fact. And Mob Program was also utilised to fix problems such as fixing merge conflicts and component integration.
Unfortunately, we ran into a number of issues and challenges during the creation of this app. Firstly, we found that we still lacked the knowledge in certain areas, which we had to supplement via numerous tutorials and guides we found online. This slowed our development process greatly. Secondly, and perhaps most importantly, one of the team members in our project unfortunately quit partway. This meant that we had to quickly develop elements that they were responsible for that we weren't able to fully implement with the limited time that we had. We also faced numerous challenges with GitHub and various merge conflicts that would cause some of our app to cease functionality. As well as that, a number of issues came up when working with the API and we struggled to get it to work. Now, if we had more time, we foresee that we would be able to create a fully realized backend that would allow for the storing of user information. In addition, we would hope to roll out a watering calendar and add in-app notifications to remind our users when it is time to tend to their plants.
Thank you for listening to our presentation. Also, thank you to the tutors at Command Shift for their assistance and guidance provided during this process. We've really enjoyed the learning experience of putting the project together, and we're going to continue to develop the application. And if you want to look at progress made, please check it out on GitHub or contact us on LinkedIn. Thank you.